morning everyone, I'm Aarti.
I'm Ambika Sharma. Welcome you all on the occasion of National Press Day. Every year we commemorate Prem Bhatia Memorial Lecture.
An independent and free press is one of the four pillars of a strong democracy. To highlight the importance of free and independent press, National Press Day is celebrated on 16th November every year.
Whereas media is used to aware about various social, political and economic activities, media is like a mirror to the world which reflects the true and harsh realities of the world. As media is being trusted by everyone and people always trust the actual and the honest news, but nowadays social media has changed the world of news.
It is very difficult to find out a difference between a real news or in a fake news. For common man, it is very difficult. Today, on 6th Prem Bhatia Memorial Lecture, we are going to talk about the changing face of media.
May I now request Dr. Anirudh Joshi, Dr. Ajay Sharma, Madhu Sharma ma'am, HOD Priya Chadda to kindly extend a green welcome to our Honorable Chief Guest Manraj Garewal Sharma, Resident Editor, The Indian Express. Please.
Thank you everyone. I now request Principal Sir Dr. Ajay Sharma to please address the audience and enlighten us with his inspiring words.
Respected Dr. Anirudh Joshi, General Secretary GDST College Society, Madam Manraj Garewal Sharma, Resident Editor Indian Express, my learned faculty members and dear students. Firstly, I congratulate you on the press day. Whatever my predecessor was saying, I was thinking free, independent press. And probably this is a day when we should think of whether it's a question of celebration now or it's a question of a little bit worry. In school days, I used to learn that if press is not free, then our democracy is in danger. I don't know whether I was taught right or wrong, but certainly if my teacher was saying something, then it must have some meaning. But today, harsh reality we all are facing. Paid news, news through media, rather through the PR agencies, and because now everyone is journalist, the quality and reliability is always a question. Hopefully, you are all independent thinker, you are all aware, and you can certainly look towards whether the information is reliable or not, whether news is authentic or not. But time is such that number of things are actually created with a clear agenda. They are bombarded using the different social medias, newspapers, electronic media or so. And by going through that news time and again, we start believing it. And that becomes a dangerous proposition for all of us. Hopefully, looking at the life of Mr. Prem Bhatia and other dignitaries who have contributed lots toward the press and its freedom, you will be in a position to actually commit yourself that we will not go through such an unethical practices when you join the profession. I welcome Madam Manraj to today's event. I understand that because of examination, strength is a little bit less, but certainly our commitment towards our nation, towards independent press is not less. Hopefully, our presence will be enlightening for all of us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. Your words motivate us. Stars shine at night, but some stars shine bright at daylight. Please put your hands together for our Honorable Chief Guest, Manraj Garewal Sharma. Ma'am, it's an absolute honor to have you with us today. She is the resident editor of Indian Express at Chandigarh, covering the states of Punjab, Haryana, and Himachal Pradesh. She is also an author of a book called Punjab Militancy called Dreams After Darkness. She was the consulting editor with Asia Pacific adaptation work. We are immensely delightful to have you with us, ma'am. Ma'am, may I invite you on the stage to please say a few words and enlighten our audience and with your inspiring words. Please, ma'am.
Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Your teacher told me there are exams in progress and you're all very busy. So I hope these whatever time we spend together will be engaging and that I won't find people nodding off, because I have done it in the past, lectured people and given so much ज्ञान कि वो बंदा बेचारा डेस्क पे सिर रख के दूसरी दिशा में हो जाता है. Anyways, so this is very nice. It's nice to be here today is the National Press Day. So I was just reading today. Punjab government held this massive cycle rally, and against the drugs, and it's also in memory of Kartar Singh Sarabha. So why I'm mentioning him was he was 19 when he was hanged to death by the British, and he was a journalist as well. So I thought I'll start my address with him. So he was the 16-year-old who had studied all over India. His uncle, because he didn't have parents, his parents died young. His uncle was probably in the mining services or some all India services. So then he got admission to Berkeley. So at that time, getting admission to Berkeley in the US, Berkeley University, was a very big thing. He went there, but once in Berkeley University, he met Lala Hardyal. So Lala Hardyal ji was a major figure of the Gadar movement. So all the Indians together in the US, they decided that we must fight for independence from a foreign soil, that it is possible. And they started a newspaper called Gadar. You understand the meaning of Gadar, right? It's like, how exactly, I don't know the exact translation, but Gadar is Harkat, Gadar is revolution, so all of it. So, it's a very nuanced word. So this boy very happily junked his Berkeley studies and started writing for this newspaper. And can you imagine, they used to publish it in Hindi, English, Urdu, Gujarati, Bengali and Pushto. So amazing. I'm sure badi thodi copies hoengi, but they did a very good job. And it's after that he came back, and then he was accused in something called the Lahore conspiracy, and he was finally hanged to death. So journalism, when I go to journalism schools, and I ask people whether they would like to join a newspaper or whatever, whether they would like to be a journalist. So I realize there are very few, because most of the people want to either be either go into public relations or other fields. So I don't find many people wanting to be a journalist. And secondly, when I ask people ki how many of you read newspapers, so they're very honest. So 1, 2, 3, 4 हाथ खड़े होते. Can I ask this crowd, how many of you read newspapers? That's very good. I want to clap. So that is what has happened over the years. Halaki journalism, it started in India. Journalism started off on a very good note. So we had the brightest minds in India who were journalists. So be it Mahatma Gandhi, be it Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bhagat Singh, all of them, like Mahatma Gandhi, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, these guys ran newspapers, ran magazines, and someone like Bhagat Singh used to contribute. He used to contribute to a publication called Kirti. It's by Kirti Kisan Union. And all these, the whole idea was that if we want to galvanize India, we will put our thoughts in a newspaper and people will read it. And I think newspapers did contribute quite a bit. So then we got our independence, and then it was life as usual until Indira Gandhi declared emergency. So I don't know how many of you know about emergency. we know about emergency, right? So when a lot of rights were curtailed, so if you it's just one of the anecdotes. So the day she declared emergency, so I'm just trying to tell you about the importance of newspapers. The day she declared emergency in June, that night, Delhi May, they cut the power supply of newspapers because they arrested a lot of opposition leaders. So there were mass, large-scale arrests. So what she did, what whoever was the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi did was, वो बिजली ही खत्म कर दी उनकी. No newspaper could come out on 26th. On 26th June, there was no newspaper. And after that, they began to keep a very close watch on newspapers, and newspapers were categorized. Like, are you in favor in the sense, are you hospitable? Are you hostile? Are you, I think there were a number of categories. Indian Express was continuously hostile. So with the result, I think our proprietor, Mr. Goenka, Ramnath Goenka ji, he had to go through a lot. Because what happened is, after independence, when the government realized the power of the media, so a lot of ad revenue started coming from the government. So the government would give ads to the media. In England, it's not so. English newspapers, if you see, they are so irreverent. They don't get ads from the government. The government doesn't have the resources or whatever. At least they don't give advertisements in papers. In India, that is so. So now we come to the present when, and it was during emergency, this became institutionalized that if a paper is writing against you, you stop giving him any advertisement, which means he will not get the revenue. I guess all of you know the newspaper you get is of a couple of rupees, right? But the newsprint is very expensive. So if someone were to charge you for the entire newsprint, your newspaper would cost 100 plus. And who is going to buy 100 plus? You could buy a coffee, of course, but not a newspaper, right? That's the way we are wired. So that is how this control began, the systemic control, how as if I am in power and if I have the money to give you an advertisement revenue, I could very indirectly try and control what you write, right? What you put in your newspaper. So that has carried on till date. And it is that which has led, because a government is in power, and if they think that you are being very critical of them, the easiest thing to do, now there's no emergency now, and I'm not talking of any one party, it is across the board. If they think this paper is being too critical, the best way to muzzle it is by stopping the ad revenue. So, which means to hurt you financially. So that is what has been happening. And as far as the media, how it's changed, a lot has changed. So one is the proliferation of the social media. So as your principal sir said, so it's no longer the journalists who are churning out news. It's no longer newspapers. You have influencers. You have anybody with a video, anybody with a phone, in fact. Any phone can very happily go online and say, ye yahan pe aisa ho raha hai or whatever, and he can do it daily till he gets a huge subscriber base. And this is happening at a very rapid scale, and there are a lot of people who are so credible, whose credibility is so high that a normal person, a normal consumer says, like my helper's son, he says newspaper mein kuch nahi aata. Lalan top, what is that? Lalan top. खबर तो उसके पास ही होती है और एक कोई खबर लहरिया भी है. So a lot of people, they feel that newspapers, they cut and write the same way of reporting, but you have this news, you don't have to read, you can listen, you can watch, it's more immediate, it's more engaging. So this is the new form this is the social media. So what has happened to newspapers? Earlier what used to happen is you had a newspaper, you would spend the entire day reporting, you would come back in the evening and then you would write whatever, and that would be reported the next day. Now with social media coming, I cannot tell you कि आज cycle rally हुई है tomorrow. You already know. You have the television which is casting it, which is running it live. So the role of a newspaper, the role of media has really changed. The way we generate news, the way we present news, and the financial, the funding of the news, all these three things have changed because of the changing, because of this huge social media apps, etc. And now, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, we have ChatGPT. Have you guys heard of it? Of course. You guys use it? No? बिल्कुल भी नहीं. Yeah, I had people, some interns from one of the universities, such clean copy. Like, mind-boggling. ये तो grammar सिखा सकते हैं हमें. इनका हम क्या check करेंगे? Then I realized the copy was very clean, but the content was very generic. Like I go to a lecture, but I'm बड़ा general सा. वो lecture पे क्या हुआ? I have no idea. But I'm just writing 3-4 very nicely written paragraphs, and then I realized I didn't know there was something called ChatGPT. Then I realized because when they would text me, such broken English, but जब लिखते थे, wow, absolutely flawless. See, so now we have ChatGPT, and it's nothing. I don't think it's something to be dismissed or to be belittled, because you know what? There are people who are very good reporters, but their language is not good. So all along they were at the mercy of the desk, because अगर desk उनको, you know, people tell you कि अरे इसकी तो English ठीक करने में ही पूरा दिन लग जाएगा, so उस बेचारे की report ही नहीं जाएगी, even though he's a wonderful reporter. ChatGPT has given everyone a level playing field. So it has leveled that. वो जो difference होता था कि if you're a good English speaker, if you can write better, if your English is impeccable, you will do better in journalism. That is not true any longer. If you're a good reporter, you write whatever you have to write, and you tell ChatGPT to just do the basic edit for grammar, your English will be perfectly acceptable. So right now you have so many tools. So the way we generate news has changed. Now it is कि सुबह cycle rally हुई है. We will, like the television or whatever, we have our apps. Every newspaper has. So we will tell you the news. What the Ludhiana cycle rally happened about 2 hours ago. So the news is already running online. We already have a video. So the way we generate news has changed. So instead of being, you know, newspaper walas used to be the ones जो शाम को 7 बजे काम शुरू करते थे, रात के 11 बजे तक. Now I think their work finishes by 6-7, depending on how the flow of stories or events is. And then how do you present news? Now it's no longer कि सिर्फ you are giving someone this news that can only be read. You're also doing podcasts. Podcasts are becoming very popular. I don't know how many of you listen to podcasts. You do? So podcasts are they're very engaging, because you could be driving, you could be sitting, you could, there is this very good company that you have, right? So, and you get hooked onto some people, and then you listen to them every day. So every newspaper runs a daily podcast in the hope that you get your reader hooked forever, because his morning will start with, like, Express has three things you must know today, and the Economist has something called intelligence. It takes me half an hour to reach my office, and I can't do the driving till I'm listening to that, because time and again, every day, it's become part of my nature, part of my habit, right? And then you have videos. So it's no longer, videos are no longer the monopoly of television channels. Every newspaper has video, has people like you and me. So a reporter is encouraged to do a podcast, to do a video. So all of you, when you join journalism, you are not going to be simply writing. You're also going to be producing audio content and visual content as well. So which is very enriching, because you know, X may not be as good a writer as he may be a videographer. He could be very good at getting information out of people and stringing it together in films. So all of that has come into play. The way we present news has changed, and changed for the better. And the way we finance news, that remains almost the same. A lot of newspapers, a lot of ad revenue comes from government sources. So that is, I think, that is one area which needs to change, where we need to improvise. So what some papers are doing is, they are selling you a story कि 10 रुपए का story है, 20 रुपए, you pay 20 rupees and you read a story. So it's not a bad idea, because like I remember we did this story which went viral, we got 10 lakh views. Imagine if everybody had paid 20 rupees, 20 into 10 lakh would be how much? How much? Such poor maths. Huh? Yeah, so that's bloody good money, right? So I guess this is where we stand. This is where people like you, the future generation, would have to innovate so that we don't have to depend on any authority, on any government. I mean, for a newspaper to be truly independent, to be truly able to say that I will print what I see, what is right, what is the truth, he should be in a position to say no to the government ad. He should not be dependent on it. And for that, we need sources, innovative sources of revenue. And I'm sure people who are into marketing would know. I'm sure all of us. So the challenge before you is that you don't just have to be a journalist. You don't have to be a, earlier journalist used to be called a pen pusher. You are not a pen pusher. You are an audio visual journalist. So you are a very creative person. You are a videographer. You are a movie maker. You are a filmmaker, as well as a journalist. And if I had my way, I guess you should, and I'm sure it'll happen by and by, because they're saying the changes you'll see in journalism in the next 5 years are what happened will be equivalent to what happened in the last 35 years. So that is how rapidly journalism is changing. See, right now I have this phone with me. I have this app. So if I want, I can tell you ये story कितने लोग पढ़ रहे हैं, where are they reading it from, and till what, how far are they reading. So I can tell you that these people are reading only half the news. These people are logging off. I mean, they're going off the news after 2 paras. So it's become, the whole media has become so reader centric. Never has the media been as reader centric as it is now. We want to know who our readers are, what do they want, why do they read one story so completely, why is it that one story gets you lakhs and lakhs of views, and another one on which you may have worked very hard, you may have spent a lot of money, you may have gone touring, but 40 views, 400, like how is it possible that only 400 readers will read? That means there is something wrong. That means we're not getting adequate feedback from the readers. We don't know what our readers want. So this is where we stand. This is how the media has changed, and it's a wonderful play field. And for all of you who are going to join this year, next year, in the next 3 years, it's very important to be in tune with the latest in technology, especially AI, because it is going to upend the world as you see it. There are papers in England which are producing certain news only through AI. They don't need papers. They don't need people like you and me. So it is artificial intelligence which is it is aggregating. Aggregating, you read through whatever is on the net and you aggregate that news. So all the press releases, etc., that people find very it's very easy to report, right? When somebody is already giving you everything in writing. So, but then as an editor, I don't need you to do the press release, na? If I can tell a chatbot to do it, right? So that is how. But what will never die is good journalism, good from the ground journalism, where if you go to the field, you actually go there instead of trying to see it on television. You meet people, talk to them, find out about, and also I think the biggest thing that sells is the difference between policy and practice. कि policy तो कहती है ये हो रहा है, but on the ground what is happening? If you are hardworking enough to meet people to do that, you will always be in vogue, and no matter which technology comes, your job is safe, your raises are safe, your promotions are safe, and your name, your byline is safe. So on that note, thank you so much for listening to me without nodding, without sleeping, and have a wonderful day. Thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your influencing us. Your words are like pearls of wisdom for us. Now, we have the house open for question answer round.
Good morning, everyone. I am Navya, BA third year student of journalism. So, ma'am, you're from Indian Express, right? As far as I know, I was a political science student in my high school. So, during emergency, a lot of newspapers actually protested against Indira Gandhi for that emergency, as you mentioned, in 1975, right? And even Indian Express actually published a blank page, rebelling towards the government of that time.
See, they used to do censorship. So you had to submit your paper to the government and they would tell you what not to publish. So what Indian Express would do is, whatever they said you can't publish, they would put it blank, they would produce it like this. There was a news here which we couldn't publish.
Space in all the papers which was censored.
Absolutely. So my question to you is that if an emergency is to be put up right now in the country, something emergency like happens, some different rebellion happens, and the government of India, as it is very powerful as such, if it actually conducts an emergency throughout the nation, how would the media, especially the print media, since it's an important part of the country, how will it handle that censorship of media today? Will the independent journalists, as we have a lot of independent journalists in the country, will they actually, protest against the government by doing something of that sort, publishing blank newspapers, blank journals, or is it going to be something different? Like, how do you think we'll handle it, since you're from media?
Yeah, I hope there is no return. But I think there are enough people who have the courage, who have the spine to stand up and protest. It is increasingly difficult because if you are jailed for printing something, it's easier said than done. You have a family at home, and jail is not a happy place, right? For a journalist to be just put in jail for whatever. And so, I hope they'll show the same spine as they did in emergency. And we kind of really underestimate our people. I feel there are a lot of independent journalists, and of course, I can vouch for Indian Express because I've never been asked to not print something by the proprietors, and the proprietors don't interfere. But I see a lot of youngsters, a lot of independent journalists doing a lot of good work, and I think they will carry on. And they're very young. You'll be very happy to know. Very young people are doing incredible work.
Incredible. Yes.
So you have, I know a girl now, she's in what? She's gone to Harvard, in fact. Harvard or Columbia School. She's got admission in Columbia. And she's from Himachal. She's from Mandi. And she said something, she tweeted something which was, which led to her being sacked from her job. And after that, she's been doing a lot of independent work, so much so that she's got 2-3 international awards. And now, right now, she's in Columbia, and she must be what, 26? That's not bad for someone whose parents never wanted her to be a journalist because they ran a small shop, and nobody in the family was a journalist.
Anybody else?
Anybody else in the audience? Okay, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mokshi Dua, and I'm in third year right now. I want to ask you, ma'am, I am a writer by nature. I've written many poems and a few articles. How can I start my career in journalism if I want to start right now?
You can. The right thing to do would be to approach any paper, including ours, and say that, if you have any story ideas, share your story ideas with them. Tell them that I am very happy to contribute to your paper, and I'm sure they will give you a chance. In fact, there are people from your paper. There is this gentleman from your paper who used to write for us, and he wasn't in the journalism department. He was from some other department. And he's now written for Article 14, etc. He's doing a very good job.
Okay, so where can I email or contact the newspaper?
I think the best thing is to, if you can visit in person, that will be very good. What happens is many a times you get so many emails. You get flooded, and God forbid if you miss your mail, you will end up feeling very bad. Shayad they don't think it merits attention or whatever, whereas that may not be the case.
And ma'am, I'm more into poetry than articles. So is there a place for poetry in newspapers in current world?
Not in newspapers, I'm afraid. Maybe there are some who carry in Sunday reading or whatever. But yeah, poetry is also thriving now. So there are a lot of other platforms that encourage poetry.
Alright.
Yeah. So if you just Google, I'm sorry, I'm such a whatever. So you will find out because Chandigarh itself, it's holding so many of these literary events, as Priya would know.
Open nights basically.
Yeah, open night, etc. And हमारा Punjab Chief Minister is forever ending his whatever with Shero Shairi. We have lots of politicians heavily.
Definitely.
So you have a scope. You like writing poetry, very good. Continue.
Alright, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I want to add to this. I started my journalism career as a freelance journalist, and ma'am was the one who encouraged me. And I still have those write-ups of Indian Express. Like she just used to take it, and I used to feel so happy that she's published my write-ups. So I started my career as a freelance journalist.
Very hardworking one.
No.
In fact, we have a column called Gen Z. It's an online column. It comes every Monday. So one is on achievers, but we have anybody who wants to write about something is also welcome. The only thing is, instead of just your views and a rant, if you could just give some, make it more newsy, that will be great. Like somebody from Amritsar wrote about a youngster. There is not enough transportation available from the airport to whatever. And he actually took the pains to say कि इतनी flights आती है and the cabbie takes such a lot of money. वो करके. And that article did so well. Our reporter hadn't thought of it. This boy, like you were saying, he just mailed the article to me. So I don't even know which college he studies in. He did write that I study in this whatever college, and he did very well. So I would encourage all of you, if you see something, and Chandigarh also, Chandigarh is so full of new things that are happening, right? If you want to write about, like somebody said, कि 32 sector में there is a child who sells some eatables, and वो पढ़ता भी है, but शाम को अपना kiosk भी लगाता है, right? तो ऐसा, if you want to tell us कि सबसे अच्छी लच्छा परांठा कहाँ मिलता है और सबसे अच्छी आइसक्रीम कहाँ से मिलती है, whatever. I know I'm not a foodie, but कुछ भी अच्छा मिलता है, तो you can write about that. Because we have only limited journalists, and if you think there is something exciting, or if you see someone doing some good work, please feel free, and you don't have to write 1,000 words. 300 words is sufficient. Not that I want you to stop at 300, but what I'm saying is, don't get overawed. I mean, don't get, don't think that this is a bar, ki unless I write PhD style, 1,000 word ka piece, नहीं तो मैं लिख ही नहीं सकता. Even short pieces do very well.
पैसे भी मिलेंगे.
I used to get 250 rupees. I used to get 250 rupees.
He's on coffee to पिला देंगे.
And one more thing which I would like to add, hello ma'am, here is Dr. Gurjeet Kaur, and the answer to your question is also students as they would like to initiate something, or they are very fond of writing, then they can also start their own blogs.
Yeah.
They can write personal blogs and they can put up their poetry or something, very creative things on that blog. And there is a term citizen journalism, where they can also contribute. If they are having enough information, then they can contribute on social media platform. Now we are not limited to traditional media like TV, radio and newspaper. We have social media platforms, so you can also put your things on social media platforms, like you can have your Twitter account, or you can have your Insta or something like that, which you can put up over there, and you can have enough views over there, and slowly and gradually you will get fame as well. Okay, thank you.
Just like a wow. Imagine that lady, had she ever thought? I was wondering, why are there so many people talking about just like a wow, just like a wow? My little boy, 11-year-old, he showed me, ye dekho. Oh, ye mummy, daddy, Vichi, look at this color, just like a wow. But she's amazing, and she's like, God, how many people have interviewed her? And uske followers kitne the? 18 lakh, I don't know.
Yeah, 890K something.
Yeah. So they just went up, and I'm sure people will see marching into a shop to figure out ki kya khareed sakte ho. So really, imagine somebody, a homemaker who's helping out a business, can do it. You guys are all trained. It's always good to have your own presence on the social media, right?
Even if we
You can be a blog writer also.
Blog. An influencer. But the last time this Punjab government, they held an investment summit. So they, besides inviting the traditional media, they had also invited influencers. Because they said, अगर इसके 4 लाख followers हैं, so we want to be on that platform. Because 4 लाख लोग तो हमें देखेंगे. That's what they want, na? Larger presence. You were saying something.
I was just letting you know that even Yippee used her as their marketing strategy.
AP?
Yippee, the Yippee Maggie company.
Okay.
Noodle company.
Alright. I thought you were talking of AP Dillon. Yeah. But look at that AP Dillon. If you see, when you're talking of journalism, you're talking of marketing, of social media, that boy is from a village near Taran Gurdaspur, right? He's just a boy. He's just like you guys, right? And then he made his own music and he started promoting it himself. He did not take help of labels, etc. He did it on his own. So your generation is very enterprising, and you guys should never be, hampered by the traditional forms, etc. You should always be innovating. Always think of something. Even if someone says, "Kya bakwas," try it. It could be wow. So, sky is the limit. Just keep your spirits high. Just keep working. Hard work is non-negotiable. Rest, everything is.
Hello, ma'am. This is Parul Bakshi, Department of Journalism, faculty. Ma'am, I had a question. It's less of a question and more of a stance. Ma'am, I think I'm okay like that. Ma'am, when we speak of investigative journalism, so we know it's the prerogative of the brave, right? So when we speak of from Watergate scandal to Panama Papers, ma'am, like we all are discussing today, that the press, one, it's censored, two, it's got more control, right? So do you think by any chance the work ethic and the integrity of the journalist or the people involved behind the news business, does that go for a toss because of the control that we have? So does that hinder the kind of investigative journalism that should be there, but just doesn't come to the scene because of the mere controls that we have surrounding us?
Yeah, a lot of it depends on your leader, on your editor. If your editor is strong and if he or she is ready to back you, he will allow you to investigate whatever without worrying about the consequences. And the editor can also be strong only if the person who signs on his salary check is backing him, right? So it's a chain. So your editor might be all heart and he might want you to investigate the drugs. There's so many things happening. Why is it that only small people are caught? Why is it that when 14 kilos of heroin is caught, बंदा ही नहीं पकड़ा गया बेचारा? और otherwise you have cases जिसमें 10 रुपए का नोट, वो foil, lighter, बंदा गिरफ्तार है. NDPS Act. He has to hire a lawyer to come out, otherwise he can't. So all this is there in all you need to is so that is the thing. A reporter can be very, very strong, can do excellent stories if he is supported by his boss. And that boss also needs some backup. Yeah.
Right.
Alright, that girl.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry, my throat is a little bad. Ma'am, we talk about independent press these days, but we all know that. I'm sorry, but we all know that in today's world, in today's era, news has somewhere become the perspective of people's mind. It has not been like what is the truth. So, ma'am, how can we say that in today's era, most of the newspapers or journalists are running in independent press?
What are you trying to say, that we give our own twist to the news?
Yeah, somewhere, we all know that media is little bit biased in somewhere or the other. So ma'am, how can we say that we are running in an independent press era?
See, ideally, in an ideal world, you are supposed to tell it as it is. Tell the news as it is. What happened, and you're also encouraged that. See, I can call a press conference and I can rant and rave about X, Y. It's my duty to find out what Y has to say as well. Otherwise, I'm just becoming your mouthpiece. So, as a journalist, I have to get the other side. So, a good journalism will be very non-partisan, not taking any side, but telling you things as they are. But also, it also varies from situation to situation. There are sometimes things are very black. So उसमें अगर किसी ने किसी के साथ बहुत ज्यादती की है, so फिर you can't be saying that I'm going to balance my news by giving the person who did it equal space. Yeah, but yes, there could be some papers, there could be some people who might have an inherent bias, and that probably reflects in the stories. That should not. You should try and be as balanced as possible. Unless, of course, there's somebody killing students and you're saying, वो killer को ना mentally तकलीफ पड़ी थी, तो 10 बंदे मरते, it's okay. So that is different.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a girl over there. Could you please ask a question?
Good morning, everyone. I am Hitanshi from second year, and my question is: as media is turning into social media, so what will be the future of print media?
I like to think the print media has a future, has a robust future, because there's a glut of information. आप देखोगे there's so much that as a reader you're boggled. It's mind-boggling. You want someone to cut through the noise and to give you a clear picture. So which is where the print media comes, and the print media will be in every shape. So you don't have to wait for the morning to pick up the paper. You will have news in your inbox, right? From the same organization. You will also have the paper in an application form so that you can go through it. But print media will always be necessary, except that those 5 Ys, 5 Ws that you must have been taught, they are changing a bit for us, because आपको तो खबर already पता है. But we need to tell you why is this important for you. And what next? अगर ऐसा हो गया, if this policy is there, you already know, ये announcement हुई है. But how does it impact your life? And what next? What will happen after this? These are questions that take time to answer, and that I think the print media will always have an upper hand. And which is why our explainers are doing very well, phenomenally well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you are a print media, whatever, if you're pursuing print media, carry on.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? All right.
Ma'am, as we all know that media is a tough place. It's not a smooth business. It's not a 9 to 5 job. We have to stay up for late hours. We have to go on field. And print expository news that can be controversial. You can be harmed by the politicians or whatsoever. Do you think being a female in this media is a bit difficult for you? It's difficult for everyone, definitely, be it female or male. But as safety compromise and or चीजों में, do you find it a bit more difficult for being a media person? And so much pressure from different people, different stratas, be it politicians, be it someone else.
See, the only thing is that what I used to feel, ki I can't be like the boys, no, I can't go drinking with the boys. When I joined journalism, I used to think I will never reach the top because I can't socialize with my bosses who were mostly male.
Yeah.
So, but that has gone, luckily, right? And when it comes to ground reporting, I mean, I'm not saying that you have to socialize, but women are recognized as being very, very hardworking, as being very bright. So they are getting their due, promotions, etc. Which is when it comes to the hierarchy. When it comes to reporting, believe me, India is a wonderful place. And our villages are the best place to report from. If you go to a village, even if you are alone, you will always feel protected. So वो जो हमारे मन में doubt है ना कि लड़की अकेला इधर नहीं जा सकती, उधर नहीं जा सकती, that's not true. And it's not my experience because my experience has largely been Jammu Kashmir, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, the villages there. But I've seen colleagues go to Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, etc. In fact, if you go to a village for a story, it becomes a वो community story. आप किसी गांव में land करो and you say I'm doing a story on XYZ. Somebody will say मंजी लेके आओ, इन्हां बिठाओ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਚਾਹ ਤੇ ਪਿਓ, फिर ਉਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ then people get together and tell you कि you can go there. And then the sarpanch will give you one person जो आपके साथ साथ रहेगा, your protector. So it's amazing. Like this, I'm just talking, we were doing a series on drugs which is not yet appeared. So I happened to go to a village around 8 because I wanted to finish that area. So वो रात हो गई. So that guy is saying, नहीं जी, हुन चंगा टाइम नहीं है. तो see, then later on the driver said he meant that some people may have had a drink or two. So, and then I have this experience of asking a cyclist for direction and he just won't look up. Then he said, मैं पीती हुई है जी. So sweet. So ठीक है, I'm old. I can say कि वो आंटी जी से बात कर रहे थे. But I have very young colleagues who also feel very protected. So by and large, people on the ground are good.
That's great.
Yeah. It's very heartening.
That gives a lot of
It's
confidence.
amazing. People, complete strangers will tell you, chai pee lo, khana kha lo. That's the best part about being journalists. Every door opens to you.
True. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is, in today's time, is media really free? The notion that we have that media is free and you're free to express yourself as a fundamental rights also claim. But is media really free? Because for those who really express themselves out and loud, they're driven to the background. And I think real reporters, they never come to the screen. So how free is media?
Yeah, I can speak for myself. I can speak from Indian Express. We are very free. And I don't think people who do news which challenges the administration, news from the ground which doesn't show them working well, that is never brushed under the carpet. I can vouch for that. But there are people who have I have counterparts in television who say the minute we start, showing news about the other party, the opposition, you get a call from wherever saying that why are you doing this, whatever, and they suffer consequences.
Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning everyone. I am Yati from B.Voc Media and Entertainment, first year. So my question is that as you said कि AI से हम कुछ भी लिख सकते हैं, English improve हो सकती है. So do you think इससे editors या और लोगों की jobs danger में है?
Use the mic. No, it's all right.
Yeah.
Close to your mouth.
But it'll just make their job slightly different. Because editing is not just about improving the language. Editing is about improving the story. Sometimes I could write a story and that could have so many angles. There are so many things that could be done in the story which I don't. So now we are becoming very data driven. They say data is God. I can say कि ये सरकार काम नहीं कर रही. But how do I prove it? I can only prove it if I can tell you ना कि इनका ये scheme ने ये result नहीं दिया. Or these many people are under the below poverty level, लोग increase हो गए हैं. यहाँ joblessness बढ़ गई है. And for that I need data. So editors will become, their job will, instead of just correcting English, their job will become bigger. They will be somebody who will be reading a lot, who will be subject matter experts. So we are increasingly now what we are doing, we are not taking people from journalism alone. We are taking people from economics, from science background, because we want subject matter specialists.
Ma'am, but जैसे
Please
बोलो.
हिंदी
मैम
में
जैसे
बोलना.
मतलब AI सिर्फ इंग्लिश ही करेक्ट नहीं करता. हम कोई टॉपिक डालो उस पर हमें एक बिल्कुल नया आर्टिकल मिल जाएगा जो हमें ऑनलाइन कहीं और नहीं मिल सकता कि हम ये नहीं कह सकते ये कॉपीड है.
AI झूठ भी बहुत बोलता है. सच में. Because कई बच्चों ने एक दो बारी सबमिट किया उसने अपने रेफरेंसेस भी बनाए हुए थे जो एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करते थे. आई टोल्ड देम लिंक को क्लिक तो करो. वो बड़ा झूठा है. झूठा नहीं, गप्पू है. Really, chat GPT, you ask her to कुछ का कुछ बना के very nicely. So you will always have to be careful. You will always have to use your own judgment and corroborate everything. Double check it.
Thank you.
And just to add, for the information of all of you, this is not Chat GPT has not been updated on any kind of information after 2021. So if you ask anything on the current problem or issue or some piece of literature, so it might just come back with, sorry, this is post 2021, do it yourself. So DIY will be the answer. Okay, so depend on yourself, I would say instead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. May I now request everyone to please join us for the release of our in-house newsletter Expression. Please, everyone.
Now I request Professor Dr. Andrew Joshi ji, and now with the Principal Dr. Ajay Sharma ji and HOD Priya Chadha, please felicitate our Honorable Chief Guest.
And Madhu ma'am to please join us in
And Madhu ma'am
felicitating our chief guest for today.
Authentic information from others.
Thank you
so
everyone.
much, everyone.
I kindly request Professor Dr. Anirudh Joshi, General Secretary, GGDST College Society, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Please, sir.
Thank you, Priya, for organizing this lecture. Somewhere on way, we have forgotten to pay tribute to Prem Bhatia. I had the chance to meet late Shri Prem Bhatia half a dozen times. He was a wonderful person, brave journalist, very close to Mrs. Gandhi, who imposed emergency. Any tourism, whenever Mrs. Gandhi went to foreign countries, Prem Bhatia was a part of it. But when an emergency was imposed, he spoke against emergency and Mrs. Gandhi. He left Mrs. Gandhi's side. He narrated me one incident. Chaudhry Bansi Lal was Defence Minister during emergency time. One morning, when Prem Bhatia was in his office, Chaudhry Bansi Lal came and asked Mr. Bhatia not to write against Mrs. Gandhi. Otherwise, he said, you will face the consequences, as any dictator or his agent will say. Do you know what Prem Bhatia said? Can you, Mr. Bansilal, go out of my office? He had that courage. I know about, I came to this town when none of you were born. 1962. I've seen every paper growing. Jalandhar was center of Hindi, Punjabi and Urdu media. People used to write. There were families, Mahasha Kushal Chand's family, Mahasha Krishan's family, Lala Jagat Narayan's family. Tribune was printed earlier from Lahore and then it came to Ambala after partition. Later it came to Chandigarh. Very, very senior people, very, very commendable journalists were editors. S.N. Dua. Incidentally, Manraj Shekhar Gupta was the resident editor when I was teacher in the Punjab University. He was a student there, came close to me for seeking guidance. I was a teacher in Sanskrit, I was not a teacher in English. Then this small little girl raised the question, what's the future of print media? Print media gives you detailed information about anything. Print media gives you knowledge. This media will not go where print media can go. So its future is safe. As far as changing journalism, I've seen so much in my life. There were only news collection, correspondence. You go to places and get the news. Some people were like me, not good in English or good in Hindi or Punjabi. They'll ask the organizers to write the news and hand it over to me. The rest of the things were done at the desk. Keeping the language intact, not the subject matter. Sometimes it was changed. When popularity of the papers was going down, you had to add new things, like adding semi-nude pictures of the women, news from film world, news from politicians' interiors, news from police stations and hospitals. Masala news was needed to keep the papers alive. Without masala news, there's nothing. Even today, read out any printed paper. I used to contribute sometimes for up to 6 papers, but now I am a retired person. So my pension doesn't allow to give those. If you take these papers, the supplements, 3/4 of them are news from film actors and actresses, from models. What they are doing? How did they celebrate Diwali? Priyanka Chopra is living in America. How she celebrated Diwali is in today's paper. Why? Why? We love glamour. We love glamorous people. I have known daughter-in-law of Shri Ram Dayal Goenka. I was Deen students of Punjab University. She came here when Indian Express was established. And she used to visit student center where my office was. She would normally ask, what's your view about the news of the year? I would say, objectivity is the first thing a journalist must learn. And I told her, some of your correspondents are subjective. Small things. If they don't get favor from you, suppose hostels of the university were under me. If I don't give admission to any of his recommendations, they write against me. Then how has the world changed? Earlier it was the correspondent. अब ये हो गया कि विश्वस्त सूत्रों से पता चला है, सूत्रों ने कहा है. Where is the correspondent? अगर सूत्रों का कहा हो तुमने लिख दिया, where are you? Where is your role as a correspondent? That is diminishing. And there are paid news, there are fake news, there are news sponsored. And if you are not a government agent, if you're not a government supporter writing against it, so many things are going to happen. Visual media, NDTV is purchased because it's against government. But Raj is right when she says Goenka family never interfered in the printed matter. They never said. I am a witness to it. I have been reading the paper. Then, if you are not towing the line of the government, she said, ads will be stopped to your paper. Paper used to do so many things. Newspaper used to publish the result of the various examinations of the university. I passed my matriculate in 1957. My result was published in Tribune. Since I was living in a village, I had to walk every morning to get the copy of the paper. If we were late, we will never get it. Then we depend upon others. अपना रोल नंबर उसमें है देखने के लिए. वो पेपर बेचने का है. Cost of the newspaper is much more high as should. So they are dependent on that. Governments will have their pound of flesh for giving you the newspaper. So many things are changing. There used to be only editorials, which were very important. उर्दू के पेपर के जो पढ़ने वाले होते थे वो कहते थे भाई पेपर पढ़ लिया, मजमून भी पढ़ लिया, मजमून होता था एडिटोरियल. नहीं यार मजमून तो नहीं पढ़ा, देखना लाला जगत नारायण ने क्या कहा है सरकार के खिलाफ. That was important. आज आप पेपर उठाएंगे तो उसमें 3-4 आर्टिकल और भी होते हैं जो आपको नॉलेज देते हैं. This has changed. Editorial is not being written only by the editor. Am I right, Manraj? This editorial board. If the editor is not there, someone else will be writing. But editorial will be there. Editorial will not be only one. On the same page, there can be 3 editorials or 2 editorials. This has changed from the times. What else has changed? Presentation. Face of the newspapers have changed. Circulation methods have changed. There was a time when Tribune was the only paper published from Chandigarh. Now almost every paper has an office here and a printing press here. You get it? There used to be composed papers printing, lead, words, then printed. Now everything is done on computer. I know one incident. One of our students was a journalist. He wanted to get the news published. Paper had already gone into the press, it was composed. So what to do? News was very important. He went to the press manager. Press manager said, let me see if there is a space. There was space. He composed, press manager composed himself and printed it. Today, if you have to do it on your computer. Everything is written. We never saw, at your age, colored photographs in newspaper. Now there are. We never saw excited photographs in paper. No, we have. And you can deny the news tomorrow if it's fake. Fake news was not a thing in older times. It was not. Fake news was possible. So many things have changed. It's glad people like you, Manraj, are in this field. There's so many young people sitting here. I was excited to see how they are behaving, how they are asking the questions. They are really, my two daughters did their mass communication from Peugeot. But none of them went in for journalism or advertisement. Don't do this. Be a good journalist like Manraj. Thank you, Manraj, for coming.
Thank you so much, sir. Your guidance and presence is a source of great motivation for all of us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for giving us your valuable time and joining us. We would like our guests to please join us for the lunch.